Hello and welcome to Gaming Gain. My name is Muzz and welcome to, we're just going to talk about the ending of Squid Games 2 because that seems to be what everybody's kind of hung up on. Yeah, I absolutely get it. There is going to be spoilers in this if you want to see just a general overview of what I think of Squid Games Season 2. I've already done one on my channel. This is where we're going to get into the nitty gritty detail of some of the finer points, especially the ending that has left so many people kind of on the fence about whether or not it should have ended the way it ended. So if you don't want to see any spoilers, go watch it, come back to this video, watch my first video. That being said, let's get into the spoilers. So, Season 2 ends with a bit of a downer. It's a bit of a... And I don't mind when shows end on a bit of a downer, especially like when it's between seasons. However, the way it's done in this one, yeah, if you saw my first video, you kind of picked up on the fact, like, I really like Squid Games. I really liked the season as a whole, but I felt like the ending let it down. Like the first season, there was a cliffhanger where he doesn't get on the plane, and you're like, oh, he's going to go after them. But that felt like season one's story had been completed. Like you got the picture of season one, and then we're going into season two. Ending season two, it still feels like there's still. I mean, they should have just called it a mini break or like. But basically, I'll get into the ending first. So, Jihan and the rest of his rag. I'm not gonna get into character names because I only know the main guy, and I am struggling. I know the front man as well. So the front man is the one who's kind of been controlling. Certainly season one, he was in charge of the games, and he's inserted himself into this games with Jihan. Kind of got himself close to him, and is actually trying to question and see where Jihan's morals are at, which I think is a really interesting dynamic. And we know this as the audience, like we know what's going on, and you know the turn's coming. You know what's going to happen. The front man's going to go back on the side at the guards, even though he kills quite a bunch of them in this little. So they rewind. We get to the classic fight scene where it's same in the first season, where a couple of days in, alliance has been formed, and the players realise that if they kill the other players outside the games, they can get the money and there's a bigger chance. But you adding the voting element, and this is why I kind of talk so highly of the voting, I think I think it adds another dynamic to the season, where you've got two teams and it's 50-50 at this point. There's 50 people who want to stay in the game, and there's 50 people who want to leave the game, and they're like, oh, we'll have another vote tomorrow. And then they give them their food, and they give them metal forks, a weapon. They give them glass bottles. And clearly they know what's coming up. So actually a fight breaks out before this in the bathroom, which kills a bunch of the main kind of characters. Kills Thanos, who was actually one of my favourite villains. He was sadistic, he was horrific, but he was quite entertaining with his like witty mannerisms and clearly on the edge of like going insane. So that was when he gets stabbed in the fork. He got a brutal death. He gets stabbed with a fork through the throat and then in the neck again. Anyway, so they're like, it's coming down to the where the lights are going to go, and Jihan's like, look, no people are going to attack us. They're going to attack, and he actually comes up with a plan where he sacrifices his own team. So he's part of the team, the X teams that want to leave the game, and he's like, yeah, they need to die. Like, well, they don't need to die, but they will be attacked, and we won't help them because we need to be on guard to get the guards when they come in. So the fight happens. A lot of the O's attack the X's, and a lot of the X's are killed off, and the guards come in to stop it, and then the the group that Jihan's with, including the front man, grab the guns. They've managed to fight their way up through the building. They're getting towards the control tower, the control room, and this is where the front man makes his turn back over to the dark side, if you like, and we saw it coming. Like, were they trying to hint? I don't know if they were ever trying to hint that he would turn against the games, but he definitely plays it to like he kills multiple different people from his own side, and he's very heavily involved in keeping Jihan alive, even though he knows that he's trying to be there to basically take over the games. So this is where we get to this scene where Jihan has been captured with his friend, is it Kang? Childhood friend, or friend from the first season. I don't know if they're quite childhood, but really, really close. They've kind of bonded again since they've not seen each other from the games, and the front man appears in his mask, so he doesn't show his face, which, a bit cowardly from the front man. And basically, two of them are there, and instead of shooting Jihan, he shoots his friend and kills him. And I guess to put more kind of death on the conscience of Jihan, and that's where the season ends. There is like a mid-credit scene where they kind of show a different, like, looks like red light, green light again, but with another statue, which will be interesting. But that's where it kind of ends, and yep, I do get it. I do understand. I think this is the reason why I kind of liked it and didn't love it, because I hate endings like this. I like the cliffhanger in the first one. As I said, you felt like the story was complete. You felt like they'd done season 1, and I know they have recorded season 2 and season 3 together, but just call it like a mid-season break. Like, set the expectation, because it feels very much like you've stopped season 2 in the middle of season 2. Like, it doesn't feel like season 3 will just feel like a continuation. You didn't need to call it season 3. You could have called it, this is season 2 part 1, and we'll release season 2 part 2 in the coming months. And it very much felt a bit underwhelming in that. I like my shows to have a kind of complete ending, or at least not stop in the, like, you feel like you've accomplished something, and then you know what's coming next. Whereas it was kind of in the middle of the actual uprising, and we don't know what's happened to a lot of the other characters. So set the expectation, call it a mid-season break, and then go. But other than that, I mean, you could pretty much tell what was going to happen from the start. Like, they weren't going to they were up against it, and I don't mind that. I don't mind. I think Squid Games is very much a good show that plays on your I mean, I knew, but it didn't go like, the hero way. Like, it was very kind of realistic. They were outnumbered, they were outgunned, and they managed to actually get quite far, which was quite surprising. But they did have a guard who kind of helped them, so I guess you could weigh up that. But yeah, I don't mind that they ended it the way they did with like a bad ending, but I wish it had been something more, I don't know, complete. More like a complete package, because it very much feels like going into season 3, we're just picking up right where season 2 left off, and you're a bit like, well, just call it part 2. Anyway, I mean, I'm trying to think. I thought I can actually speak about the games, the new ones. So you've got red light, green light. First, the classic. Then you've got a variation of 5 different mini games that one person has to play from each, and it's like a track. I like that. That added some real tension in there, and with the kind of 5 different team members having to play one game, you could feel the tension. And they even managed to add a little bit with the main characters who you knew were going to get through, but then it's actually the front man who really struggles with one of the mini games, which was interesting, which was really interesting, because you're like, oh, he's so good at everything, and then he doesn't, and you can see him actually like almost break down a little bit. And then the third one was like a merry-go-round where they have to get into groups. Particularly brutal, that one, with the picking and choosing partners, and the betrayals and the moral choices that were going on. It was it's just mirrored with like this cutesy little song that kind of goes on while they're on the platform, and then the absolute carnage that ensues in the next like 30 seconds to a minute, where people are grabbing each other, fighting each other, and ultimately killed if they don't get into enough groups and into the room. Overall, as I said, I very much enjoyed season 2. I am looking forward to season 3. I think it's a very well made show. I love the kind of character focus. It's not just focused on the game, it's focused on building up the characters, making you care about the characters, and then the games are the set piece moment where you can hopefully see whether your favourite character, you want your favourite characters to get through, and you want some of the more dastardly ones to kind of get got. But that is season 2. That is season 2, and I'm very much looking forward to season 3. And I hear it will be the last one, which I love the restraint, because I definitely feel like, listen, they may end up making like a prequel to this where it's the first Squid Games or something like that, and that could be interesting. But I think they will very much, hopefully, just leave Squid Games alone. It's a massive franchise for Netflix, so I do expect them to return to it. But just leave it alone for a couple of years, make us want it again, and then bring it out, because I think, as Disney have shown us, like, too much of anything, no matter how beloved it can be, can destroy the kind of goodwill that you've built up over the years. So season 3 will hopefully be the final season. We'll see the end of Jihan's story. Jihan's story. I'm definitely getting the character name wrong. I've probably done it a million times at this point. But yeah, let's talk about it. Spoilers, obviously, video, so I feel like we can talk about it in the comments. Talk about your thoughts to the ending of season 2. Were you happy with it? Were you not? You kind of in the same level as me, where you thought, they could have maybe done something a wee bit more complete. And with all that said, all that's left to say is any thoughts, comments, general hostile remarks, leave them below. Thank you very much. Bye bye.